If you can believe it, during 4 years at Harvard and Radcliffe, we were able to submit our papers in handwriting. And I wrote all of my papers. This is the only one I didn't write, and therefore is the only one I have. I borrowed a typewriter from somebody, and the reason I did that was it was a personality. What is this course called this summer?
Personality.
It was a personality theory class in 1955, and we were asked to write our autobiography, and I was 19. So without knowing about that you were on Valiant and all this, I found, since most of you I hope have read C. Run, or you're going to read it after I leave, I think you'll be tickled. This is on page 5, and I say, so far, I realize that so far I have painted a dirty picture. These are all things that happened and are still very real, but life wasn't so completely bad. These things all happened before I was 9 years old. You can see this person would probably not get a book contract. I would be creating a false picture if I didn't mention some of the many good things that took place. I think the major thing that kept me on the correct path through these times were my interests. I loved to read. I spent a good deal of my time at the library, and for a while my ambition in life was to be a librarian. I discovered early on the happiness one could derive from making up stories. I think you'll be amused at what's coming. And I was recognized as the best storyteller in my neighborhood. In school, too, my abilities as a storyteller were known. This gave me a good deal of self-confidence. By the time I reached 4th grade, I knew that my ambition in life was to be a writer. This was an ever-present, comforting thing for me, and I felt superior to many of my friends. I don't know what Dr. Valiant would say about that. My friends changed from moment to moment, from one moment to the next about their aims in life. And I knew what I was going to do. I was going to write. What you don't know is that in 1975 I was in an automobile accident. I was a passenger in a car, and an unlicensed teenager, it later turned out, I was the 3rd accident he'd had in 1 month. He kept taking his parents' car and going driving with no license, and I was the 3rd one, and he broadsided my friend's car on my side, the passenger side. That landed me, not immediately, but later at Mass General Hospital for 3 weeks, where it looked like I might be an invalid. Undiagnosed issues, what do they call it, vital organs, the spleen, you know, they couldn't come up with a diagnosis, but I went from a high energy person to being just totally lethargic, and it was very difficult. So I began to look around for what could I do for a job if I was going to be in a wheelchair. And I remembered that I always wanted to be a writer. So I thought the one good thing about writing is you could do it from a wheelchair, you could do it from a hospital bed. Now remember, we didn't have laptops or anything like that. We had pencil and paper. And I did have a portable typewriter. I had a Smith Corona portable typewriter, which C. Run was written on. And I dragged that. It was very heavy. Oh my God. It was in a steel case. And when I took that anywhere, do you think it would be more than 25 pounds? At least 20 pounds, maybe even, but 20, you know, it was really, you had to, when you took that typewriter, you didn't take a whole lot else with you. And, but that's how I wrote C. Run.